Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Melanie Gray with another episode of Code Calm, the podcast that gives you tools and resources to live healthy and live well with less stress. And today, I am so honored to have as my guest Lachandra Baker, an optimization strategist, author, helping leaders create lasting change from the inside out. Lachandra is a workforce specialist, keynote speaker, author of Your Own Biggest Cheerleader, known for helping leaders and organizations create lasting change from the inside out. She's a founder and lead consultant for Lachandra Baker Entertainment, a people-first strategy and leadership consultancy based in Columbus, Ohio. Lachandra, it is my great pleasure to have you as a guest. Thank you,
Dr.
for being
Melanie.
here.
It is my honor and privilege to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So I want you to open up by telling us, how do you teach? Why is it important to teach people how to be their own biggest cheerleader? Because I know that people have difficulty patting their own selves on the back.
Yes, 100%. So thank you for that question. And it's one that I get obviously often. And one of the things I tell people all the time is it's really hard to show up for other people if you don't know how to show up for yourself. And so that's a big part of what your own biggest cheerleader is. It's not sugarcoating all the things about yourself. It's being really aware of who you are, your strengths, the things that you don't do as well that you will need supplemental help for and assistance for, but also just understanding those things that might be triggers. You talk about Code Calm. What are those triggers for stress? What are those things that might put you out of your best self and put you into a stress response? And so I'm always thinking about, do you understand who you are, your lived experience, the stories that you tell yourself, the stories that you tell others? And when you show up, are you showing up in your best possible experience? And so those are the things that I really challenge people to do, is to look in that mirror to really see your reflection coming back at you, but also look in the beautiful, I call picture window that's in front of you. Where do you want to go? And so both of those things are tools that you can use to be your best self. And so that's what I really advocate for.
Well, I appreciate that. But, I see people having difficulty appreciating themselves because they are benchmarking who they are from social media. I don't understand. My fellow sister, Black woman, maybe you can help a sister out, because I don't understand why people let individuals they really don't know, who don't pay their bills, who don't contribute to their lives, who aren't present, they're just like clicks, dictate for them who they are, what they believe, and really influence how they feel about themselves. I mean, strangers. Help me, sister. Help me understand.
Dr. Melanie, let me tell you, this is something I talk to people about all the time. We have this, and I will say it's an Americanized version because I've talked to other people from other countries, but that keeping up with the Joneses is a big thing for us, right? So it doesn't matter. We don't understand the concept of what is enough for ourselves, right? If we say, I just want to make a good living and maybe go on vacation a little bit. Okay. Then that may be a thing. But then now you see where Dr. Melanie is doing this, and if she doing this, and we came from the same city, we came from the same background, then why she getting this and I didn't get this? So I need this too. So you start to shift what is actually important to you based on what you perceive as somebody else getting ahead. And we have done the okie doke on ourselves, honey. I'm going to tell you, we have done the okie doke on ourselves to think that we have to be other things than what we actually want. And so I think as a society, we have forgotten what the enough equation is. Like, is it enough that you make this much money to pay your bills? Is it enough you make this much money for liberation? Because you and I talked about liberation before. It's absolutely a choice.
It's a choice to manage your budget, to control your spending so that you are not stressed and you are accepting and appreciative.
That's right.
Of your life where it is.
That's exactly right.
Learning to live simply in times like today, when you're looking at all of the uncertainty and the
So
wars,
much.
I feel like I
Yes.
should never open my mouth and complain about anything when I see the news. I need to go sit and shut my butt up in a corner somewhere and be grateful.
And here's
If
the
I
thing,
dare,
Dr.
if I
Melanie.
dare complain, which, if I dare, I need to slap myself on the hand. We really need to get perspective and perspective for ourselves.
Yes, perspective for ourselves. But then also something to what you just said is so resonant to me is maybe you're not necessarily complaining, but you're making an observation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to be clear that you can observe that something might be different for you in your life than for
Yes.
somebody else. That's not necessarily a complaint. It's making an observation. Now, the complaint starts with, well, why didn't I get that? Why they getting that? I didn't get that. Well, there's so much behind the scenes that we don't see, right? We see that, what I call that Instagram snapshot. You see that perfect picture, that perfect pose, that perfect family. You didn't see what happened 30 seconds before that shot, and you didn't see what happened right after that shot. Right. And that's the true story that we're missing. So we're living for snapshots. We're not living for the real story,
Or
the behind the
curated,
scenes.
and not just snapshots, the curated snapshots.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
individuals have the capacity now to create an image that is not
Yes.
real. And so
That's
we're
exactly
losing
right.
authenticity, which is, again, stressful. Because I
It
believe
is
there's
very
stress
stressful.
in the falsehood, the false images that are created, and feeling a need to try to live that out. And
That's
there's
right.
stress in benchmarking and measuring yourself by that. And I believe, Lachandra, that burnout and stress to some degree are a choice. And it
100%.
is my
Yes.
mission to help people make a different choice.
Love that. And I love that mission. And I join you on that mission. I actually ran a leadership class earlier today talking about self-advocacy. And they were like complaining about something that was happening with their supervisor. And I said, did you talk to your supervisor about their behaviors and their action, how it impacted you? Well, no. I'm like, then how do they know? So now you're holding people accountable for something that you have not vocalized and you haven't shared, that is making your journey harder. So that's where the self-advocacy
it's
comes
bullying,
from.
right? We
Yeah.
don't want to be bullied, but we feel
Right.
it's okay to bully and mishandle and malign someone else's name and
Right.
credibility without giving them the chance and the opportunity to speak up for themselves, because we want to be cowardly
Right.
and complain, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's stressful. It creates stress.
It's very stressful.
And we need to
Exactly.
teach people how to not do that.
That's right. And then what you said earlier is, if you're living your authentic self, you're not faking it. So it just feels natural to you. So it doesn't exude a lot of energy. When you're faking being who you are, it exhausts you because you're not living in your reality. You're not living in your
And
fullest
all the
strength.
scrolling just keeps you in discontentment. I wouldn't spend that much time looking at anything that is going to make me dissatisfied,
Right.
and unhappy.
Right.
And
it's not real.
And it's not real.
And it's not real. You're seeing that quick little snapshot. You're seeing, like you said, that curated story that you don't see the realness. That's why I'm so attracted to realness. I'm so attracted to the messiness of life, the messiness of humanity, because it also makes me know that even when I do my absolute best, I still might not make it. I might fall short, but that's okay, because I can learn from it and I can keep moving.
Well, you can,
right?
and life is messy, right? And
it's messy.
Life happens to all of us all the time, whether it be a sickness, I got to get another mammogram,
right.
It's your mother needs you. We can't control everything in our lives, but we can celebrate. We can still choose to celebrate.
Yes.
Even the rough patches in our lives, understanding that, time does do its perfect work.
Yes.
If you allow it, to. And you can't skip steps. I don't know if you've observed that, Lachandra,
That's
but
right.
many people are in a hurry, and they create stress in their careers, in their lives, because they want to skip steps. They don't want to read the book or study the book. They want you to tell them the overview, so
Give
they
me
can
the
just
cliff notes, baby. I need the cliff notes.
And it doesn't work. Life doesn't work on the cliff notes.
Life does not work on the cliff notes. That's exactly right. And it's so funny you say that, because my kids are now grown. My youngest is 24, and he's just now starting to live on his own and understand what adulting is like. And that's been such both a fun and exhilarating experience to watch him grow into himself, but then also kind of funny, because he's like, Mom, money don't go very far, does it? I'm like, boo-boo, it does not go very far.
No.
That's why you need a budget. That's why you need to budget.
They really don't appreciate it until they get out
McDonald's on DoorDash, right? You can't do McDonald's DoorDash like you did in college, honey. It costs. It costs some money. It
costs a lot of money. And it comes at if you choose one thing, if you choose to DoorDash, that means you don't get to necessarily choose something else.
Correct. That's exactly right. There's a trade-off. And there's a prioritization of what is most important to you in this moment right now. And we talk about prioritization all the time, because you can't do everything. Everything can't be a priority, because if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority.
If you stand for everything, you'll stand for nothing.
Honey, correct.
And if you try to do everything, you'll do nothing.
You will do nothing. And that's the part that people, I think, get confused about. Even when I talk about multitasking, because I always tell people, I tease people, I say, multitasking is from the devil, honey. You can never multitask 100% of things. It's like, what is the minimum? Is it 70%? Is it 50%? Is it 60%? Because you can't do multiple things for 100%.
Right? You can't. Yeah. You can't, I don't believe that you, in multitasking, I think that you have to have focus at some points in your day. I might drink a cup of coffee, eat my lunch, and answer some email, right? But the real important emails that require thought, I'm not going to answer them while I'm multitasking. I'm going to set those aside in draft mode and give them the time that they deserve. And I love that you said that. Another offset of that is the whole thought of multitasking and then having it all. Because that's the other stressor. That lie. Right. I don't know who started that lie.
Girl, they lied.
About having it all.
They lied.
Who started that lie? Lachandra.
Hunty. Somebody who thought they were going to do the okie doke on us. Because, honey, we already know. You and I know.
Everybody running around saying, you can have it all. Especially women. Oh, I can have it all. No, you cannot. You have to decide what your all is.
That's right. That's exactly right. I'll tell you a great example of that, Dr. Melanie. I had an amazing woman who was like about her life and her business. She was a go-getter. She spent from literally her early 20s to her mid 40s building her career. She got her career where she wanted. She goes, now I'm ready to be a mom. And she was ready to be a mom. She literally went to a fertility clinic, picked the donor that she wanted, got pregnant from that artificial insemination, and had her baby as a single mom, because she orchestrated the whole thing. Because she said, I wanted to make my career, and now I have enough money to be able to be here for my child until he's 5 years old and goes to school. Then I can make a different choice. I applauded her. Because she was very much intentional about how she led her life. It wasn't nothing by her happenstance. It was by curation. You talked about curation earlier. And I applaud her, because she said, this is when I knew I couldn't have both things that I wanted. So I made my career first, and now I'm making my family. And I applaud her to this day because of that.
That's I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I dabbled at things for years. But then when I knew I was getting closer to retirement, in the last 5 years, I began to position myself so that when I retired, I would be able to launch my business full time. But I worked a career for well over 20 years.
That's right.
I earned my 2 pensions and my other stuff so that I could position myself to live the entrepreneurial life. Now, some people take the risk, and maybe earlier, and they were able to take the risk. You have to know your own life. I knew that with, taking care of my mom and my dad, my niece and nephews, and my husband's illness, I couldn't take those kind of risks. Because, girlfriend, I am not going to be without health insurance, okay?
Girl, baby.
I do not take that. I wasn't built for that.
As a nurse, you already know what the system's like, so you better know.
But some people are built for that. and they take
Right.
that risk. I will never take that risk. I have never had to.
Yes. And I love that you brought that up, because a lot of times I think there's a misnomer that people say, well, you just got to work hard and everything will just happen for you.
No, it
Honey,
doesn't.
working hard is one part of it, but there's also the risk assessment that you're talking about, because some people can risk more than others, and time is risky, money is risky, all these other things is risky. But then there's a whole luck aspect to it. Are you in the right place at the right time? Did you speak this to the person who could actually help move some barriers for you and add some things to you? So it's luck, risk, and effort that make people successful.
And I don't believe in luck, but I do believe in God's divine order for my life. But I believe that everyone doesn't get everything. Now, I have, there's some people that get the big chair. I was in academia. There was only one dean position of nursing. We all weren't going to get it, right? I've worked in acute care. There's only one chief nurse.
Right.
You have to understand that we don't all get the big chair, but it doesn't mean you can't have impact, you can't have value and make a difference and still have other wins in your life.
Absolutely. That whole piece around span and control that you spoke of earlier, there's what you can actually control yourself, there's what you can influence, and then what are the things that you just need to release because you have literally nothing to do with them. And part of your leadership is understanding all three of those things. What do you actually control? What do you influence? And then what do you say, like, that's not even my lane. I'm going to let that go because I have nothing to do with it. It's going to stress me out.
You're not the horse. I mean,
you're not.
It's not in business and in some of our corporations. It's not the smartest and the best people that get the advancement and biggest opportunities. It's who likes them. And sometimes people just don't like you.
That's right. And it's the proximity and where you're at.
And where you're at. But it doesn't mean you cannot have a good career. It doesn't mean that you can't have value. There are things people stress themselves out about, as you shared, that they cannot control. Understand the landscape, but build your life outside of work, because that's the other issue. If you have nothing to define you besides your title, then you are going to be stressed and disappointed. But you need a well-rounded life.
Yeah, and I love that you say that, because usually when I meet people, even when I'm at networking events, I say, tell me about yourself. And then I stop them first. I say, don't tell me what you do. Tell me who you are. Right? Because people, they can't, because they always start with what they do. And one of my favorite sayings is, honey, we are human beings, not human doings. Right? So tell me who you be, not what you do. Right? And people don't know how to express that. They're like, oh, no one's ever asked me that. I'm like, but that's ultimately who you are. Tashonda Duckett, and I don't know if you know her, Tashonda Duckett Brown, she's one of the few Black CEOs, female CEOs in the Fortune 500 companies. And one of the things she always says is, my character is owned, my title is rented. I rent my title. And I love that she says that all the time.
I love that.
Because it's like, who am I?
My title is rented. Is owned. My title is rented. I'm going to write that one down.
Write it down, honey. She's a bad sister, and I love her to pieces. I've heard her speak in live so many times, but that just resonated with me, because that really tells you about who you are, not what you do. Who are you in the wee hours of the night when you by yourself? Who are you when you have that dilemma? You have to choose between A and B. Like, who is that? That character person follows you everywhere you go. The titles and the jobs and the things that you own, those are rented, honey, because you're going to do that and then you're going to do something else after that.
Well, the Bible says that a good name is worth more than gold, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so your name, I care about my name. I have a good name, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have to honor that and want to live that out. Well, we could probably talk all night,
girl,
Lachandra,
all night.
And I know we probably could. But look, tell the listeners where they can find you, and then close out with your code for calm that you want the listeners to apply this week.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much. So you can find me on all the social medias between LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at LBB Edutainment. It's just like it sounds, like edutainment, because we are the juxtaposition between entertainment and education. So edutainment. And my code for calm is really about self-advocacy. If you know yourself, you know what drives you, you know what might stop you, you know what you fear, you know what excites you. Once you understand that, you can do anything in this world because you know where you need to get tools and resourcing from, and you know how to stand in your power. And so that's what keeps me calm.
Oh, well, I love that wisdom. And I know that the listeners got great value from that. And thank you again, Lachandra, for being a guest on Code Calm. Guys, listen, she has some great nuggets. Go follow her on LBB Edutainment. Find her on LinkedIn. She is a powerhouse that you are going to want to connect with. If this episode of Code Calm was a blessing to you, please like and follow us. And remember to live healthy, live well, and make it a great day.